go with that too. Good stuff. Okay. Well, this is great. Thank you all for joining us.
All right, so we're going to get started. So welcome to our session on nutrition education resources in K-8 classrooms. Just so you can get to know us a little bit, my name is Erin O'Brien. I'm a program coordinator with the Eat Right Philly program. I have worked for the school district for 16 years within the Eat Right Philly. It used to be Eat Right Now program. And so I love to cook, which is why there's a little picture of me cooking. And I love like sharing knowledge with kids around cooking and wellness. And I just love seeing them learn something new and get excited about eating healthy foods.
Great. And Jenna is not with us yet. She might be joining us later, but my name is Kim Brenneman, and I'm also program coordinator with Eat Right Philly. And I love doing this work. I've been doing it for 16 years with Erin, basically. And I also love to drink coffee. So Al, I'm so with you on the coffee and the salad. That's good stuff. And I try to balance that out with drinking a little water for every cup of coffee I drink throughout the day. And I just dropped in the chat the attendance form for the session. If you guys want to fill that out, I will put it in at the end as well. Okay.
All right, so our objectives for today, we are going to be able to determine ways to encourage student health in this digital learning environment that we are all quickly becoming familiar with. We'll also understand how Eat Right Philly can support a healthy environment for students. And then we're going to look at our Eat Right Philly lessons and show you how they can meet the healthy eating strand of the scope and sequence for health. Excuse me. So our session norms. So in order to make sure our session is as effective as possible, we're asking you to follow these below expectations. And so one is to use the chat box. So there'll be times throughout, as we've already seen that some of you have done, that we might ask you to type something in the chat box. We really encourage you to make sure that you're getting involved in using the chat box whenever possible. We also want to ask you to make sure you mute your mic when you aren't speaking so that we can cut down on any background noise. And then finally, and very importantly, we would like you to be present. So please make sure that you are using your camera for the duration of the session and that you are present and we can see your lovely faces in the camera throughout the session. Okay, and so our agenda for today, first we're going to talk very briefly about the Eat Right Philly program, just give a quick overview. I believe a lot of you are familiar with our program, but for those of you who aren't, we'll just go through quickly how we can support nutrition and wellness in the Philadelphia School District. Then we're going to talk about nutrition and health for the digital learner. So we'll discuss some supports that students may need during this virtual environment to maintain health and how we can support them in that. And then we'll talk about some nutrition and health resources. So we'll talk about how Eat Right Philly can support schools in providing a healthy environment to students at home and in the classroom. And then finally, we will take a look at our nutrition lessons and activities that have been updated and show you how they can be used in K-8 classrooms. Okay, so about Eat Right Philly. So if you are aware of the Eat Right Philly program, if you've heard this name before, you can just show me a thumbs up. You can type in the chat box. Hopefully you're all familiar with our program. You might recognize us as Eat Right Now. We've had a rebrand and now we are Eat Right Philly. And so we have a new look and a new focus. And, you know, our goal is really to inspire health, wellness, and better learning. Okay, so who we are. So we partner with 6 agencies throughout the city to provide nutrition education services to the students in Philadelphia and their families. So we partner with Drexel University, Einstein Hospital, the Food Trust, Health Promotion Council, Agatston Urban Nutrition Initiative, and Vetri Community Partnerships. And then we also provide services as well. So you may recognize some of these other agencies. Hopefully you know which agency services your school. If not, we can help you find that information out as well. But we all really work together under the umbrella of the Eat Right Philly program to provide schools with nutrition and wellness services. And our mission is to educate, support, and inspire improved school wellness and culture so School District of Philadelphia students and their families can live a healthy lifestyle and achieve their fullest potential. And so if you look at our framework, we really operate at various levels. And so on the individual level, we work with students and caregivers or parents to deliver nutrition education lessons so that students and their families can understand like the basic knowledge around eating, making healthy food choices. Then on a school level, we work with schools to improve wellness. We really try and support nutrition and physical activity initiatives across the school. And then on the community level, we collaborate with different partners to increase food access for families so that caregivers are able to purchase healthy foods within a limited budget. Okay, so nutrition and health for the digital learner. So we're all in this new environment and everyone's trying to, figure out their way in this new world. And we really want to focus on the kids. And so we're going to ask you to drop in the chat, what nutrition health concerns do you have for students in the digital learning environment? We know that there's just so many health concerns, or so many concerns in general we have for these students, but we want to specifically focus on nutrition and health related concerns. So is it food security? Are kids getting enough food to eat throughout the day? Are they getting breakfast every day? Too much screen time? So anything like that. So yeah, I see that's obviously a big concern, is not getting enough food, lack of fruit that's always available at schools, eating balanced meals, I see, not getting enough exercise. Are they snacking all day? So yeah, are they eating too much, not enough? Lots of juices and sodas, sedentary lifestyle, I'm seeing. Yeah, not all kids have a way to get free food. So we really want to try and address as many of these needs as we can. So, so if you look at some of these comments that people are posting, we're focused really on just these basic needs of students, the physiological basic needs, making sure that they're met, eating breakfast, making sure they're getting enough food throughout the day. Are they getting enough water throughout the day? These basic physiological needs that are really the basis of student learning. So our program, we really want to try and address as many of these needs as we can in this digital learning environment so that students can get up to that self-actualization and so that they are ready and available to learn. So, and again, we know that these behaviors, eating enough fruits and veggies, eating breakfast every day, just having enough food to eat in general, and being physically active, they're all associated with increased grades, better test scores, better cognitive performance, higher attendance, and improved classroom behaviors. So how can we support students at this level so that they can be the best learners possible? So how can we help do this? We have various school wellness resources that we'll discuss in a little bit. And so our program, typically we were in person in schools providing support. So we've had to be creative and brainstorm ways that we can really help address these needs for school wellness in this digital environment. So we'll go through some of that in a little bit. We'll also talk about food access resources for teachers. You may be in a position, or your coworker, a fellow teacher, may be in a position where you now, realize that there might be a student that does not have enough food to eat. So we want to be able to be there as a resource so that we could maybe put you in touch with some supports in their neighborhood so we can get them food access. And then finally, digital nutrition lessons. So we've worked really hard over the summer to update all of our lessons. And we added a digital component to all of our lessons because we really, now more than ever, we just understand that students need this knowledge. They're home and they don't have the guidance that they might have in school. So we need to give them those basic foundation, that basic knowledge so that they can learn how to make healthy food choices on their own.
All right, so we're gonna take a few minutes and do a breakout room. So just take some time now, just maybe jot something down, like what supports do you need in a virtual setting? So we're gonna put you in rooms. You're gonna be in the rooms for 4 minutes. You'll each have 1 minute to share, so you'll be in groups of 3. So make sure that everyone is able to have a minute to share. So just give me a minute here to set the rooms up. Okay. All right, I'm gonna send you out to your room. So the question is, what supports do you need in a virtual setting? I'll send you off, just accept the join. Great. How's it going? Are you guys okay in here? Oh, can you unmute yourself oh, are you on a phone?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I had to step away from my computer. I'm the only one in this room right now.
Oh, where's this guy? Okay.
I don't know.
So what supports do you need in a virtual setting?
As far as for like teaching nutrition.
Yeah.
Just resources and where to find resources. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like I already have stuff, but I would need more stuff, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just needing like just where I could go to find more resources, whether it's virtual sites or whether it's through like like magazines or something like that, or videos.
Yeah.
Just how can I access these resources?
Right. And have you been on the curriculum's like website? There's like some lesson plans there.
Not yet exactly.
Yeah.
Not yet, but I will be as we get closer to
Yeah,
the first day.
look on there because they're supposed to be posting lesson plans. And I don't know if it'll fill like all your time, but they're supposed to be posting lesson plans for the first 4 weeks of school.
Yeah, I'd heard they had mentioned that in the morning session.
Yeah, which I think only the first 2 weeks are up now.
Yes.
So yeah.
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 Yeah, I would definitely be checking that out.
Yeah. And we'll give you some resources for nutrition, but then hopefully I hope you can find other resources for the other stuff. What school are you at?
Bridesburg?
Oh, I love Bridesburg. How long have you been
Oh,
there?
okay.
Yeah.
This would be my 5th year.
Okay. Oh, good. Well, yeah, Mr. Scarpiello. What's the principal?
Serpiello.
Scarpiello. I like him.
Yes.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting close to the end, so maybe a year or two, or maybe even this year.
I know. Okay. All right. I gotta close these words out. I'll see you back in the big one.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, welcome back, everyone. If you feel like it would be great if you guys could share in the chat 1 or 2 things that you appreciated from your discussion about the virtual supports that you need. So if anybody, wants to share.
I'll share.
Feels good.
I'll share. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We was in group 6, and one of our guys was, just worried about the platform in general, like doing the meets,
Mhm.
in the classroom. Older gentleman, is just not used to it, and I get it. It can be really, really frustrating. He just wants more support with that. Greg and I talked about more that we just want better, more engaging lessons online, because when we're in that building, we're on.
Mhm.
We know what we're doing. It's a lot different. Just to have just better, more engaging lessons online. That it also makes you feel better about what you're doing as well.
Mhm.
I have to enjoy what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, that was the same in our group, just wanting more materials. So thank you for sharing. I see group 7 about reminding kids to eat healthy. Good materials. Yeah, good. Anybody else want to type in the
I'd
chat?
like to just share.
I'll join.
Oh.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's all right.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the main issues that I had as virtual learning, it was getting the kids into the classrooms. So a lot of the students just wouldn't come because I don't know. So we came up with this idea that the kids were going to the normal classrooms, but they weren't coming to the specialist classrooms. So the idea was, instead of ending the class from the classrooms, the homeroom teachers actually tell them and post the link, go to this room next in the next 5 minutes. So it'll be in the chat, and the kids would just click on and it direct them right to our classrooms. And once we did that, it was a way more attendance, but some still dropped off. But if we can get the teachers to support in that matter, we won't have to worry about the numbers of the kids coming to the classrooms.
That's great.
I'm sorry, what my staff is actually doing, because that was an issue obviously in the spring. We've had the classroom teachers have added us as co-teachers to their classroom. So we're going, whenever their prep is, we're going right into their open classrooms, and the kids will already be there. We're just sliding right in and doing our thing.
One question, how many co-teachers can they have? Can they have more than one co-teacher?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Okay.
Janine, what you said, I'm sorry to, we were thinking of doing that same thing. However,
Mhm.
in an elementary setting, if every teacher adds us as a co-teacher, then we end up having like 45 tiles on our classroom to have to go in and out of. So what we did was we
You
decided
can break them up into different sections, though. You can put like the gym teacher under all the other assignments from that one teacher. You can break up into sections that way, and you can also turn off their assignments. So if you're getting everyone else's assignments, there's the thing all the way at the bottom you could turn off, and you'll only see your assignments posted.
Yeah. what we ended up deciding to do is that as specialists, we are going to invite the co-teacher to join, or the classroom teacher to join our tile.
Right.
That way, then they can go into ours and copy the link to our assignment and post it in their classroom for the kids.
I think where it works for us is because I'm in an elementary setting as well. What we do is we have our specials per quarter. So we have our kids 10 weeks in a row every day. And then we switch out quarters so we can actually get lots and lots of good, education in there. Good stuff.
This is such great stuff, and I hate to wrap it up, but we want to just kind of cover a couple more things, and hopefully we can leave time at the end, because I think this is so important for you guys to have this time to discuss together and best practices. But I am going to move us along just in the interest of time. So thank you everyone for sharing. Great. Okay, go ahead, Erin.
Okay, so now we're going to share with you some of our resources that we can provide to your schools and teachers. So we have some resources around wellness, school wellness, and Kim, if you could move to the next slide. There we go. So traditionally, we are in schools and we are bringing out food tastings and encouraging school breakfast and things like that. So we've had to get creative and brainstorm and come up with some other ways to make sure we're addressing a lot of these needs to kids in, a different setting. But everything that we do is really guided by the school district's wellness policy. So Kim, if you could hit next slide. So the wellness policy, we focus on school wellness councils, creating teams within schools that can, work together to create healthier school policies and create opportunities to encourage nutrition and wellness across the school. We work with nutrition standards for food, so making sure that all the foods sold during the school day or that are available through school meals are following the guidelines. Nutrition education and promotion, we obviously do, that's a lot of what we do, is educate students and their caregivers and promote healthy foods throughout the schools. And then finally, physical education and physical activity. So we do a lot around promoting physical activity throughout the school day to make sure that schools are in compliance with the wellness policy. So how can we help with these things? So like I said, a lot of these things we can do. We can organize school wellness councils and help, kind of keep on top of some goals for the school wellness councils. We do a lot around physical activity promotion, healthy fundraising. So in the past, we've done fundraisers that either kind of get away from the less healthy food fundraisers. So we either do healthier fundraisers like fruit salad sales or non-food related fundraisers like dance-a-thons and things like that. School meal promotion, we do a lot around breakfast promotion, getting kids in the building so that we can, make sure they're getting a healthy breakfast each day. Healthy rewards, so we work with teachers to provide suggestions for rewards that are either non-food rewards or healthier food rewards. And similar with celebrations, working around getting away from, the pizza parties and things like that. We would promote either healthier options or non-food celebrations. And then we always work on food access for families in the school district. So with all of that, like I've said, we've had to adjust a little bit in this virtual setting. So, but some of the things we can really do to promote school wellness. So with physical activity, we're really trying to promote virtual movement breaks into the school day. So, having teachers stop, we say every 90 minutes, students should be up and active. So really working with teachers to help promote that and get kids moving, especially considering how much screen time they'll be getting in this new environment. Some of the fundraising ideas that we've had are virtual fundraisers like a thon, a walking or a dancing celebration or a cooking competition, things like that. And then healthy rewards and celebration. So there's things that teachers can do, like hold a virtual escape room or play physical activity bingo online that could be used as a reward or a celebration for students, you know, doing a good job.
Right. I'm going to move into some food resources. So with COVID, we all know that it's hit a lot of our families really hard. In Philadelphia, our food insecurity rate is about 20%. Usually we're around 15%. So there's been an increase in that. So we are kind of pivoting our work to support schools and connecting families to food resources. So just real quick, a little movement break. So here's our question. How many food resources are there in Philadelphia? So this is farmers markets, food pantries, food distribution sites. So if you think it is 250, you're going to touch opposite elbow. If you think it's 385, you're going to do shoulder rolls. And if you think it's 425, single arm reaches. So take a little movement, show us your answer. Let's see what people think. Okay, I see some hands raising. Let's get a little movement going, people. Good, shoulder rolls, awesome. Okay, great. So the answer is 385. Everybody do some shoulder rolls here. So we have a lot of resources in Philly. Everyone's been doing an amazing job across the city between school meal sites and food distribution sites and food pantries. So at Eat Right Philly, we can't necessarily do the in-person food distributions at schools with it being virtual. So what we're prepared to do and to kind of move our support is to give schools lists of food resources around the school in their neighborhoods. And we could, you know, give you a list to put on your Google site. Our second option here is a newsletter that you could send home to all your families, and we would give you, Eat Right Philly would give you all the sites and the delivery times and pickup times for the food. And then we also have a Google form that we could supply to you that would, you know, ask questions like what the family needs, what food resources they know about in the neighborhood. So just real quick, I would love if you could type in the chat, maybe like which one of these things that you would probably use the most. Oh yeah, and we will at the end, we'll have a survey that you can fill out, and then you can say which food resources or what resources you want, and we'll follow up with you. Awesome, great, thank you. Okay, I am gonna stop sharing my screen so that Erin can share with you. Good, I see people still, good, all of them. All right, awesome. So that Erin can share some lessons with you guys.
All right. So first, I'm just going to kind of give an overview of our curriculum. So over the summer, we spent a lot of time updating our lesson plans, and we added a virtual learning component to each lesson. So they should be finalized and available for use in September. I believe it will be early September. We have to submit everything to our grant, and we were told we should hear back this week or next week with any minor edits, and then they should be ready to go. So we will, we're going to try and get them on the district's Google site. If they aren't posted directly on there, we already currently have a link to our website on the Google site, so you'll be able to access all of these lessons through that link. It's at the bottom of the Google site. So our lessons are broken up into 9 sessions for each grade level. So the grade levels are broken down into kindergarten through 2nd grade, 3rd grade through 5th grade, and 6th grade through 8th grade. Each grade group, again, has 9 sessions, and each lesson, like I said, includes a digital learning component. So the lessons can be taught either as a single lesson or in a series. You don't have to teach all 9 sessions. You could teach a subgroup of lessons. You could teach 4 or 6 lessons, however it best suits your needs. And the lessons can also be taught either in a synchronous or an asynchronous setting. And the topics included in each grade level's curriculum, we start off right off the bat with food safety, because we know right now we're really trying to promote hand washing for health, for safe and healthy eating and just to keep these kids and their food safe to eat. Then we're going to talk about My Plate, fruits and vegetables, calcium, whole grains, breakfast, healthy beverages, healthy snacks, and physical activity are all lessons that are included in each grade group. So now I'm going to just show you a sample or two from each of the grade groups so you can get an idea of what our lessons will look like. So our kindergarten through second grade curriculum is called Go and Grow. So I'll be showing you the Go and Grow with the food groups lesson. And I'm just going to give you an overview of what our lesson plans look like. They're all formatted the same. We have our goal and objectives. We have the National Health Education Standard as well as the PA academic standards. We have also listed any cross-curricular connections. We really try to incorporate as much ELA as possible. We also have lessons where we're incorporating math and science as well. So next, you'll have a direct link to any virtual learning options. And the lesson plans are written so that they can be taught in the classroom as well as in a virtual setting. So you'll see materials listed. Those would be materials that you would use if you were teaching the lesson in the classroom. We have some vocabulary words. And then the actual lesson plan is broken down into sections. There's an intro. There's an anticipatory set or like a little quick activity that you could use. And there's an in-class activity, and then there's the virtual learning activity. So you could see for this lesson, the in-class activity would be reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar to students and then reviewing and answering questions. I'll show you the virtual option in a minute where the students could read the story through a YouTube video or follow along with it through a YouTube video. And then there's Google Slides answering questions to assess knowledge. There's a developmental section. That's where all of our content lives. There's a section called Go Deeper. So we realized that, having a grade group of K to 2 can mean that there's just a very different level of knowledge that you're working with. And so in this section, there's an opportunity for you to enhance the lesson with further information for kids that might be more advanced or older. We have a little movement break if there's time to add that in. And then this is our activity options. So there's an in-class activity where you may use a worksheet in a lot of these lessons. And then there's the virtual option where we try and really keep the content and the activity as similar as possible to each other so that if we do end up back in the classroom in December, you can still continue to use these lessons and the information is the same, whether you're doing it virtual or in the classroom. And then there's a review. So I'm going to show you the Hungry Caterpillar activity. This is like a little icebreaker activity you could use. And a lot of times these could actually be like their own lesson depending on what you do with it. But if you click on the Google Slides, you'll see there's a link to the YouTube video of the read aloud story. And I'm just going to show you a few of the little activities in here that could be used. And so this isn't the main content of the lesson, but these are just quick little icebreaker activities and really just to kind of check knowledge on whether the kids understood the story. So they would have to drag the fruit into the day of the week, like 1 apple, 2 pears, and so on. So that's one of the activities they could do. And then in the next one, they would have to identify the written number and drag it under the correct picture. So 1 apple, they would drag and drop So there's different activities depending on the level of the students that you could use, or you could use all of them. It's really up to you. Then there's activities where they have to drag the circle around the healthy food. Oops, sorry. And then this is a sorting activity where the students would have to sort the foods into an always food, which is something that's always healthy to eat, versus a sometimes food that we may want to not eat as often. Now I'm going to show you in the same lesson plan, this is the content and the main activity of the lesson. So it's called Go and Grow with the Food Groups. And in the kindergarten through second grade level, you know, we're obviously concerned with reading level. So we really try to make it as readable as possible for kids. And this is an example, like with all of them, where you could either go through this with them in a Google Meet, share your screen and go through each slide and call on kids to read, or have a further discussion about each of these things. There's, you know, the general information here. This is like super basic. Each food group, you could have students talk about their favorite food that belongs in each food group. And then the activity at the end, they would have to drag 2 fruits onto the plate. So they find the fruit and they drag it onto the plate. And then it goes through each food group and they have to identify the number and then drag the appropriate number of foods for each food group onto the plate. So that's our My Plate lesson for K-2. Now I'm going to show you our breakfast lesson. And again, the layout for the lesson plans are all the same. So I'm just going to scoot down to the virtual learning option. So this is the anticipatory set right here. Computer's being a little slow. And so again, we're always trying to encourage reading. And so this is a quick little story about breakfast. And the students can read through the slides, either as a class or on their own. And the goal of this activity is for the students to identify rhyming words. So you tell them to look for the rhyming words on each slide. And it's just a story about eating breakfast. And then at the end, the students would have to drag the words to the matching rhyme on the left side. So long and strong. And the only things that are on any drag and drop activity, the only pieces that are movable are the pieces that they drag. So you don't have to worry about them, like, you know, rearranging the whole thing and getting it all confusing. And then for the activity and the content, you would click on the Go and Grow with Breakfast Google Slides. And again, it's, you know, basic content for students in grades kindergarten through second. And you can go through the content either with them or they could go through it on their own. And then they, there's a section where then for each food group, you talk about foods from that food group that could be eaten for breakfast. And then they have to type in the text box a food that they like to eat for each food group. So there's choices below that they could choose from. So if a student isn't a strong writer, they could just copy the words right there, or they could come up with their own. And something that came up in one of our earlier meetings was this is also an opportunity to bring in different cultures. So you could ask students, you know, what's a food you like to eat you know, from different cultures or things like that. So it goes through each food group doing the same activity where they type in a food. So you can really expand on these in various ways. So that's our kindergarten through second grade. Now I want to quickly show you some activities from third through fifth. So this is our healthy beverage lesson. I'm just going to go down to the virtual learning options. And again, this is like an icebreaker activity. How much sugar is in our beverages, is in your drinks. Apologize, my computer's being so slow. And there's a little bit of content in here. And then there's at the activity portion of it. They have to, sorry. They have to do some math. And so they have to determine how many teaspoons of sugar are in different beverages. So they can make a guess, they can do the math is there so that they can figure out how many teaspoons is in different types of beverages. And then at the end, we talk about how there's no sugar in a glass of water. I'll X these out. And then in the actual lesson plan slides, fuel up with healthy beverages. This is where you'll really find a lot of the content again. And so in these types of activities, it's more of typing in text boxes. So you talk about times when students might feel thirsty, so it's helping them identify cues. It talks about how our cells all need water to live. And we try and make them like fun with graphics and things like that. And then again, they're answering questions after reading the content. And then in this one, they are looking at beverage labels and determining, you know, which is the healthy choice given two different choices. And they would have to type their answer in the box. So that's beverages. I just want to quick show you, I'm just going to show you the one activity for healthy snacks. So in this, I'm just going to show you the main lesson, but there's also a little math activity that they could do where they have to figure out math problems that are related to healthy snacks. So this is our Fuel Up with Healthy Snacks lesson. And again, here's all the content. Try and make it colorful and engaging for students. It goes through the different food groups and different types of snacks that can be eaten. We also focus in this lesson on combination snacks. So combining different food groups to create a healthy snack like apples and peanut butter, ants on a log, or like a yogurt parfait. And then the reason why I like this lesson is because it focuses on where we're making snack choices. So the activity gives students different scenarios when they're at school, and they have to drag the checkbox next to the choice that they would make given the scenario. So there's a scenario at school, there's a scenario at the store. So if they're going to a corner store, and then they choose the healthy snack choice, and then at home. So it's really kind of empowering kids to make their own choices when they're out, you know, in different scenarios. And then finally, there's another activity, and it's a Savvy Snack Shoppers. So students create different snacks using the menu, and then they have to total up the price. So it adds some math concepts in there as well. So now, finally, I'm just gonna show you our 6th to 8th grade. Just a snapshot of some of our lessons for the older kids.
And Erin, I'm just going to jump in. If you guys, we don't have these available right now, but if you would like them, I put in the chat a survey that you can fill out that we will email them to you. I will also put in the attendance sheet in case you didn't get it before. And just before I know Erin wants to show you these lessons, but before we wrap up, make sure you do those 2 things. Thanks.
Yes. So again, same thing. The content is all here. Obviously, it's at a little bit of more challenging level for the older students. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of a different activity we have students doing in the older grades. So in this activity, they would be making a healthy menu. So they have to imagine that they're a restaurant owner and they need to come up with a creative name for their restaurant. And then they have to develop a lunch menu. So they have to have 3 options for lunch. And then within each option, they have to have at least 3 of the 5 food groups represented. There's a rubric on the following slide so that students know exactly what's expected of them. And then this is the slide where they would put in their restaurant name, their lunch options. We ask them to write a description. And you can get more creative with this. They can add in graphics and make it look pretty, or, you know, you could really have fun with this activity. And then this is another example. This is our calcium lesson. And I had some fun with the graphics on this one. Hopefully you can see this little skeleton dancing. So in here, there's a link to a calcium IQ quiz. So they could take this quiz just to assess what prior knowledge they have around calcium and healthy bones. And again, is all the content. We talk about osteoporosis, and we talk about what a healthy bone looks like versus a bone with osteoporosis. We talk about weight-bearing exercise and how that impacts the strength of your bones, and different examples of weight-bearing exercises that students can do. And then the activity for this lesson is that the students will be creating an advertisement promoting calcium. So here it lists, you know, what we're expecting them to put on their advertisement. So they need to have at least 4 facts about why calcium is important. They need to include at least 3 examples of calcium-rich foods and at least 1 example of a lactose-free option. So something like spinach or orange juice or something like that, calcium-fortified orange juice. And then this is what we expect from their content. So it needs to be interesting to read. Again, they can add graphics to make it colorful and that they have correct grammar and punctuation. And then really it's just a blank slide where they can get creative and use their skills. I think this would be a fun one just to see how creative the students could get. And I think they would enjoy doing something like this. And then this lesson is also very similar to our in-class lesson where students would be creating posters of a calcium advertisement. So that's, again, a really quick look at just an idea of how our curriculum is kind of built and what kind of resources we can provide you with. Again, as soon as we get these lessons approved, we'll make sure if you fill in the survey and put your contact information, we'll make sure we share these resources with you. And they'll also either be on the curriculum Google slide or available through clicking on the Eat Right Philly link on the Google slide. So do we have time? We don't really have time, do we? But hopefully you'll find these materials useful. If you get a chance, and type real quick in the chat how you think you would use them in your classroom setting. That would be great. But I also want to put on here how you can connect with us. You can actually use your phone, I believe, and scan. We're so high tech. Scan these little QR codes so that you could follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and then we also have our newsletter as well. And that's a wrap. So make sure you fill out both of those surveys. The attendance one is super important, so you can get credit for being here, and then also fill out our survey as well so we can have your contact information and send you along any of these resources.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.